Hey everybody, it's Cruachan Keith here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something different. We're winding up some clocks. Let's take a look. So in my house I have about seven antique clocks. Yeah, you know, I'm into collecting video games. I collect Harry Potter stuff as well. I'm not really into collecting clocks. I just want a nice kind of cool aesthetic in my house, and I think antique clocks add to the antique vibe in my house. So I've accumulated seven. I probably won't get any more. This is enough. I don't want to be like some of those people who are really into clocks and they've got like 4 or 5 grandfather clocks in a row, which I don't think looks great, whereas one properly placed looks really, really cool. So all of my clocks are around between 100, but they're around 150 years old. There's one that's 100 years old, we'll show you now. But this is my weekly routine every week. All the clocks I have are 8-day mechanisms, which were designed to be wound weekly. Pretty much you set a date, a day in the week, a time of the week, and you'd wind it that day. Some clocks with the mechanisms, you'd probably want to be winding them more than that, because as they wind down, pressure changes within the clock and they lose their timekeeping. I don't really use these clocks for timekeeping, so that doesn't bother me. So this is my weekly routine. We're going to start with my beautiful Ansonia 1882. The date is on the inside, I can't remember. It's a beautiful Rococo style clock. It just looks gorgeous. It's like something from Beauty and the Beast. So this is the routine. Every Wednesday around 12 o'clock in the afternoon I'm doing this. So we wind the clock mechanism first. It makes lots of crunchy noises as it goes. And that's it. And then we wind the chime mechanism. And there we go. That'll keep going for another week. Interestingly, I brought this into a horologist that I know when I first got it, just to get it serviced. And he spoke about the Ansonia mechanism. He said it was a cheap enough mechanism in the late 1800s. They were meant to be cheap and cheerful. But even he said they shouldn't still be working. He said they weren't designed to go forever. But the opinion is they will go forever. They're just rock solid. By the way, this clock has its own key. Most of my clocks have their own keys, but a few don't, and I have these kind of skeleton master key jobbies here, which are cool. They do the job. So, on to the next one. Okay, so here is my second clock. Now, I will be honest, almost 45 minutes has elapsed since I was just there looking at my mantle clock. I just noticed the battery on the camera was a little bit low, needed a bit of a charge. So this is the second clock in my daily routine. This is a Viennese regulator wall clock. I'm pretty sure it's a regulator wall clock. Now what regulator meant, you would see these in businesses and like train stations, and they're super accurate, and people in the 1800s would set their own watches to these clocks. They wouldn't necessarily be in homes or anything like that. Most regulators would have weights. So I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I did buy it as a regulator clock. It is antique, it's genuine 1870, made in Germany, but yeah, it's gorgeous. So we're going to wind this up. So this has a little latch here. It opens like this, and again, has its own key. Oh yeah, this always reminds me of the noise a dolphin makes. So I'm always surprised that was fully, I mean that was last wound 7 days ago, and it's only a few turns to wind it up. But there it is, absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I had to pull the curtains here because 2 windows in my living room right here, and the camera was just struggling with all the light coming in. Okay, on to clock number 3. So we're out in my hallway now, and this is the first of my 2 grandfather clocks. It's from 1844. You can see the maker's mark here. I think it's gorgeous. The whole face is all hand painted. Almost every grandfather clock, if it's genuine, will be hand painted. But yeah, let's get it wound up. So you open the door here, and I'll give you a look at the weights. So we can see the weights. Let me just move the camera a little bit. You can see the pendulum there, and the weights are right down the bottom, meaning, hey, it really wants to be wound. So I find this very satisfying, winding these guys. So first one. Oh, I just set the time off there. I hit the hour hand, so I keep forgetting that this needs to be out a little bit further, so it doesn't do that. And I was planning to comment on how accurate the time is on this. So at the moment it is exactly 12:50. So I hit it a bit. It's just coming up to about there. Okay. There is one other grandfather clock, but for now we're going to do the last clock downstairs. So I do have this clock. This is one of my no, it's not an antique actually. It's about 60 years old. People call it a granddaughter clock. It's not running at the moment. I need to get it fully serviced. But this is one of the first clocks, one of the 2 clocks I own that have the Westminster chime. So you can see it's actually got 3 keyholes there. But the clock we're going to look at now has a Westminster chime as well. And it's from about 1920, it's something that we see in World War II movies on some of these mantelpieces. Let's take a look at it. So there you can see kind of hidden away amongst all I've got some antique picture frames here of my family and my partner and kids and everyone. It's just a nice, but I thought having this clock in there hidden away would be really nice. It's not Victorian like the others. It's from about 1920. It's a German clock. It has a Westminster chime. And it's pretty accurate as well, so it keeps great time. I haven't touched that, and it is currently 12:52, I'm saying, on my clock. No, it's just gone 12:53. It's about 20 seconds fast, which is cool. But to wind that, I need to just remove some pictures. I have it boosted on some books just so we can see it. And this is a clock that I don't have its original key for, so I need to use one of these guys. I think it's this. I actually have the Westminster chime dampened because my head is about 5 feet up above it when I'm in bed, and when I first put it in place it was just too loud. It kept waking me up. Every 15 minutes goes bang 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 boom, then a half an hour bang 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 boom, and then it does the full on the hour, and then it does the chimes, and it's beautiful. It's like something from a Charles Dickens novel, but it's just too loud. So I've dampened the chimes, but the bongs every hour still go. They sound like Big Ben, like a church. It's really cool. So let's wind this bad boy. So this middle one that I'm winding is for the chimes. The one on the left is for the bongs every hour. You might be thinking, why not just not wind it, leave it unwound? But unfortunately, the workings of the clock needs them all wound. Some clocks don't. This particular one does. There you go. Okay, so apologies if you can't make this one out too well. I think it's starting to look a bit better. It's right up against the window, as you can see. This is a Victorian slate clock. It weighs an absolute ton, but it's from about 1850, 1860. And the two ends, these have a proper name, I'm not sure what they're called, but they weren't originally from this clock. I bought them about a year ago in an antique shop just as bookends. And then I got this a few months ago. And now these were originally with a clock, but as you can see, they match almost perfectly. So this needs another one of these keys for winding. Oh, well, that's fully wound. And my last antique clock is up here. It's upstairs. It's another grandfather clock. It's from, again, about we think 1870. But it's an Irish grandfather clock, and so we're not sure of the makers. Around the 1920s, at the time of the Irish Civil War, when Ireland was gaining independence, a lot of old English rule was leaving the country. Irish people burnt a lot of records of English landowners, etc., etc., and pretty much all clockmakers in Ireland, all the records were just annihilated, they're gone. So this says Cork, it's from County Cork. We've no reason to believe it's not, but we have no idea who made it or what the history is with it. You can see it's a very traditional, it's you know, if this was made in the 1800s, technically Ireland was part of England, so it's an English clock. It's from English. So it's 1 o'clock, you can hear the clocks are all going a bit crazy. This is about to chime now. I'll wait till it finishes its little chime. You'll hear it any minute now. It's got a bit of a crack here on the hood, but what can you do? It's still the original glass. Come on, chime. Any second now. It'll be worth waiting for. So you can imagine that at 12 o'clock at night, bang, 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 bang. So usually I would have this disabled because, yeah, it's too loud. It's too loud for up here where the bedrooms are. So I'll open up the front cabinet. You can see the pendulum. All the clocks are a few seconds out from each other, but they're still pretty close. So yeah, let's give this a wind. So for this, I don't have it's a different type of key. It actually looks like it was made specifically. Somebody, a steel maker, not a professional, made this key. It's got some dates, 1965, 1967, around. It must be when it was serviced over the years. Well, let's get it. Wow. You can see those weights, or I don't know if you can see the weights, but kind of coming forward. It is slightly tilted forward. The floorboards aren't perfect up here. And the weights on grandfather clocks weigh an absolute ton. If the old cables that are still there from hundreds of years ago, usually they've been replaced multiple times by now. But if they snap, you want, like, usually I'll have a book or something with some newspapers underneath there. So it takes the weight of takes the impact is what I'm saying. So there you go, guys. That's my weekly routine every Wednesday at 12 o'clock, winding my clocks. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will get back to video games. Don't worry, I'm not going to turn into some weird clock channel. I just thought you might appreciate my weird antique clocks. See you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye. If you like that video and if you like what I do on the channel, please leave a like and please subscribe because it helps very much. Thank you.